Well, I'm Jeff Stearns. Julia said that. I worked for the Department of Agriculture for about 30 years. The last 10 years in organic certification. Our program was accredited through the NOP in 2005. So we've been organic certifiers for, 14 years or so. And we kind of talked, Josh and myself, about questions. If you got a burning question, just throw it out there, but at the end, okay, yes.
How many certified organic farmers do we have in Oklahoma?
I'd have to count, as far as farmers, probably 30.
Okay.
Somewhere it fluctuates.
Yeah.
And then we do certified in Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas too. So we've got a few big organic processors, Griffin's Food, O'Keene Milling.
Well, I guess of the Oklahoma folks, is there a list?
There is, and I have one
Okay.
that you can look at, or I'll just give it to you too. So.
And it's on the USDA website too, I think.
It is, and it's on the Oklahoma website too, under the organic section.
Sorry.
So.
Go ahead.
Good question. So, we certify some big processors too, Griffin's Food, some big ones around the state. And then we certify probably 5 or 6 livestock applicants. We've got a big farm out western Oklahoma that has organic beef cattle. And then he's got maybe 2,000 acres of wheat and about 2,000 acres of pasture. So we do certify some big farms out there. And then we certify a lot of small farms too, some of them down to 1/4 of an acre. A lot of backyard, just farms, gardens for organic farming.
Is it an organic wheat for those organic?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And wheat seems to be a bigger thing. We just certified a couple new people out in Alba, and we go all the way out to Boise City, which is way out there, that guy grows some organic wheat, but that seems to be on the increase. So, trying to think what else. The organic certification program, and again, if you got a question, throw it out there. If not, we'll get it at the end. But your land's got to be free of anything prohibited for at least 3 years. So after that 3-year window, you can apply or get an application, send it in. We'll review it, give you a call, come out and do a farm inspection. On that initial farm inspection to become organic, we'll look at all your inputs, your seeds, your methods. We'll do soil samples. Most of what we do is vegetable farms, but we do pecan orchards. It really varies across the board. But we'll come out, we'll do soil samples, get all that submitted. The inspector will fill out a processing report, inspection report, submit it to the director. Through the National Organic Program, it's got to go through at least 2 sets of eyes. So the NOP really works hard on trying to maintain that word integrity in the word organic or associated with organics. So it's got that inspection process goes through at least 2 separate eyes. They review it. If everything's compliant with the NOP standards, then we'll issue you an organic certificate. And after you're certified one time, you're required to go through a yearly inspection. So it's a yearly process. So I see some head, yes.
So this, like, a 1/4 acre ones, how are they justifying spending the money to get certified? Because that's, like, you don't get a cost share.
Oh, yeah.
You can, with that small?
You can, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Can you
So-
talk more about the cost share thing, or when you?
Yeah, they pay up to 70%. What's the max? I think it maxes out at
Yeah.
$800.
The limit is $750, so reimburse you 75% up to $1,000. So
What are you reimbursing for?
for the cost of becoming organic, certified organic,
But what is the cost associated with it?
your application fee, for that 1/4 acre,
Yeah.
the application fee is going to be $250. And then there's an hourly fee of $50 an hour. You're probably going to have 450 in there.
But then it gets reimbursed up to 75.
Yeah, so you'll get 300, a little bit more.
And is that calculated on a per acre cost or?
Pretty much, so a lot of certifiers do it per acre, like $7 per acre. We have a sliding scale where it's 25 acres or less, it's $250. 26 to 250 is 325, then it just goes on up.
Can you have a multi-use farm where part of the farm is organic and part of it is not?
They call that a mixed operation, and the NOP recognizes that. And so, yes, you can have that.
And
Now,
how
there
do
is,
you- How do you determine, like, the cutoff on something like that? What's organic and what's not? How much space has to be in between?
well, a lot of that depends. You might see some row crops out there, soybeans or corn, and they might have a 300-foot buffer zone is what they call it, because it's aerial spraying. But they just got to look at that, determine that there's no risk of any drift or any contamination coming
And
in.
that's part of the certification process.
That is, yes, yes.
So if you had row crop production and then you had high tunnel for produce that was organic,
I mean, that's part of the on-farm inspection. There are some places we just can't certify. I mean, it's not enough protection there from conventional fields.
but once you applied for, you've already done the application, so you're money into it before you can determine whether or not you can certify.
Yes, yes. I mean, when we mail you that application, we mail you the organic rules. And almost everybody has researched it enough and they kind of know the rules and the process of that. But we'll review the application in the office, and there's been times that, I mean, you read right on there that there's no way we can certify them. So in that case, we'll reimburse, I think it's 75% of the application fee that was sent in.
Okay.
So
So the application fee costs $250.
for 25 acres or less, it does.
Okay.
And I have a fee sheet here, and I'll lay some information, brochures, and my cards out back here. I'll put that fee sheet and organic rules back there. And, yeah,
Okay.
Want one? Just hand them. Go ahead, Jeff.
okay. So did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Pretty much, usually I just open it up for questions, and that takes 20 minutes or so. We're going to hold them until Josh goes through his presentation, and then we'll just both get up here and answer all the questions you got.
I'm sure I'll create some new ones here as well. Okay, so introduce me. I'm Josh Hardin. I'm from Arkansas. Forgive me for that. So it's interesting because Jeff has been my certifier for probably going on 9 years now, 8 or 9 years, and so I really was excited to come and do this. You don't get an opportunity really to present with your organic certifier much, and I really want to start off by saying, you know, Oklahoma is really a model to be desired. We have to deal with a lot of different certifiers. You guys just don't understand how simple what he just explained is compared to the other certifiers. If you bring in a QCS or one of these bigger private companies that are not state funded, they charge you a % of your revenue. They don't charge you $250, they charge you 2% of your gross revenue. Okay, and so you're not just paying a fee, you're giving that person a cut of your money every day you operate. And so this program is amazing. It's for a small grower, it's the only program I can imagine. I would not be organic if I had to give 2% of my revenue, whatever those, you know, revenue cuts are. And so, you know, for Arkansas, we've kind of been cut off by Oklahoma. We can't get any more organic certification. So I'm fortunate to be one of those grandfathered in. Oklahoma, you guys still have a great resource here, and ODAFF is great to work with. You know, my state pays me back quickly. I submit the receipt. I get a check within a few weeks to reimburse me. So, you know, the cost in organic is not getting organic. It's staying there. It's making money. It's finding crops that grow without tons of inputs. that is the difficult part. Getting certified, I tell people this all the time, was the easiest thing I did. It was every day after that, staying an organic farmer and trying to find stink bug, cures and trying to keep botrytis out and, get into that stuff. That is the challenge of organic farming. The certification part to me has been the easiest and most enjoyable part. And I think a lot of people tend to think that's the painful part. But when you got somebody like Jeff to work with, I can't say enough. I'm not just saying that because he's my inspector, but I wouldn't be here 9 years certified if it wasn't for having a partner across the aisle. I've always been able to call and ask questions, and before I'm going to put something out that I have questions about, I can call, and he's like, "Don't do it, stop right there," because other people, they go and apply it, and then they call Jeff, and he's like, "I have to take your certificate away. You just applied something prohibited, and you told me, and now I have to do my job, right?" So it really pays to have people you can talk with and communicate with. These other big operations, I have friends who are larger, and I've worked for Driscoll Strawberries, who has some of the largest organic land in the world, and their buffer is like here to that wall. Organic strawberries right here, and moon suits and hand application like 30 feet away. I mean, they have buffers and different things built, but the organic industry is such a different world in California. And so I see those things, and I think, hey, we're doing pretty good in the South. We still have row crops, we still have neighbors, and that's where I come from, Southeast Arkansas. My family has about 1,200 acres of conventional row crop land, and so I grew up in conventional melons and fruits and vegetables and pecans, and when I came back from California, my dad's like, "You're not going to do that here, don't just go on and get off this land if you want to be organic," and so it was kind of a long road for me. I had to buy land. I had to buy land in a place where I was protected. I have forests all the way around me. I own my buffer. I own 40 acres just so I can farm 1 acre organic, I hate that it has to be that way, but I don't want to fight with my neighbors, and I don't want to spend time in court, in lawsuits and things. And so it's being responsible as an organic farmer to look at all that up front. Like you were saying about your high tunnel being close, and I have deals with my neighbors. I have pasture across the road when they're going to spray or do anything. That's part of becoming organic, that you have to have these things laid out before you get certified. You have to have verbal and written agreements with neighbors who are spraying chemicals, and that just pays anyway, to have good relationships with your neighbor from day one if you're going to get a certification, because you don't want to wake up and lose your certification and be out there fighting, fist fighting with your neighbor, or gun fighting, or knife fighting, or whatever it may turn into, because it can get there. It's your livelihood, and you put all this in, you laid your land out for 3 years, you've spent all the extra money, the products sometimes get outrageous in cost, and you've done all that, and you just lose that piece of paper right at the end. It's really painful and difficult. And so I say all that just to say I've had a really good experience. I enjoy being certified organic. I'll talk just a little about certified naturally grown. I always like to mention that. I've had good experience with them as well. It tends to serve another purpose. Certified naturally grown is more of a grassroots kind of look. I got a couple of CNG is more peer reviewed. You get inspected by another farmer, that you can't inspect each other, but it's kind of a triangle where I inspect this farm, he inspects that farm, and then that farm could inspect me, and you cannot repeat your farm. You have to keep getting a different inspection from a different farmer each year. So I like that part of it. I always got to meet other growers and get to know other growers. And as a certified organic grower, I can also inspect any naturally grown farm. I can help another farmer out. I can come and fill out all their paperwork and submit that to CNG. So it's really a grassroots kind of approach at the same thing that certified organic is doing. But to me, the main difference is CNG is more of just kind of a marketing arm. They have a website. They put your farm. You kind of have your own page on their website, and it's like $130 a year to do that program. But you can't get, the cost share does not cover certified naturally grown. But I've always considered it a marketing cost, and CNG, I get calls all the time from people who see the website. They want to know where I'm at, where my food is. If somebody Googles, naturally grown in your name, or local naturally grown food, your farm will come up on that website. So that's a pretty good tool. In this day and age, that $130 is well spent just for that, to me. And so if a customer can go, and I don't have to pay a hosting fee and update websites. I don't want to do any of that. I'm too busy to do all that stuff and keep it up to date. So they'll feature us on Facebook and put out blasts all across the internet. Every month they feature a farmer, so it's a kind of a more marketing, customer-facing side. Any questions so far about that? This is their website, and this shows like this. You can go onto my page as a customer and see my inspection reports. You can see all the things that happened, who inspected me. Kind of the whole deal is right there for your customer to see. Very transparent, very open. And you can ask questions, or if there's issues, there's a place where you can go to report the farmer, say, hey, this person's not doing what they say they're doing. And I think that's great. It's kind of a more of a grassroots customer, farmer based.
So Josh, as far as CNG, are there any big differences in practices?
Exactly the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It really runs parallel with OMRI and NOP,
Okay.
and it's very much the same. So, and I always say, I think it's a great place to start. If organic is a goal and you feel like it's a little overwhelming, I certainly think CNG is a great way, because it's a lot of the same paperwork without some of the huge repercussions, right? You have a little bit more mediation, and if you still do prohibited stuff, you're still out, period. But you can work through things. It's not quite, the axe doesn't fall as hard in CNG as it does with USDA.
I have one more question on that one, on
Yeah.
CNG. What is the borderline from your neighbor that mine sprayed to yours?
It's the same, it's some of it's visual, but I think the minimum is like 30 feet. But I think, Jeff, you may have to correct me. What is the definition of buffer? It's like 30 feet, I think is the minimum.
Well, I mean, in the National Organic Program regulations, there's no set, if you have land that your neighbor's organic, there's no buffer. If you're in a national forest or something, or right up against one, no buffer. It's something that you assess the risk and see, if your neighbor is a guy that he's going to spray when he wants to spray, and you might have a 200-foot buffer. If he's a good neighbor and he sprays with the wind against you, or if he raises just native grass hay and doesn't spray it, I mean, every case is kind of different. But there's nothing written in the NOP regs that say
That's good to know.
you must have 10 foot here and 30 foot here. Or,
Okay.
Well, in my situation, we back up to a town, and so there's like a little old lady and an alleyway.
That's
and
great.
The little old lady's
That's
never
way better
sprayed
neighbor.
anything, but like, what's the minimum buffer? I mean, I've kind of stuck to 25 feet, but like,
Yeah. But that's low risk, so I think, like Jeff's saying, he would come out and say, well, that's adequate because there's not a tractor with a boom sprayer.
No.
I mean, you can assess that if they're spraying and you see residue or drift.
yeah, I mean, never. But,
Yeah.
the land's
Dead
not
plants.
always going to be owned by this little old lady too.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
And like Josh said, I mean, we require you to talk to your neighbors, highline companies, railroad companies, any company that sprays. I mean,
Yeah, I'm on the do not spray list, and guess how many names there are on there? One. The whole state, just me.
Wow.
And that's because I got out there with a gun on the side of the road, and I said, you know what, if you pump that sprayer one more time, I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life. And the guy said, here's my boss's number, I'll wait till you talk to him.
Thank you, Jeff. That's
hey, you're welcome.
okay, sorry.
No, that's fine. Any more on CNG?
No, I'm done.
It's really written the same way, like when somebody comes out and inspects, it says, is there visibly, conventional land? Is there dead plants? Is there anything that would give you the indication that there have been chemicals applied? So Jeff went through some of this, but I definitely wanted to throw this in there. The 3 years is important. When I first got certified, I was 1 month short. I had bought my place 2 years and 11 months before. And so I had to get a waiver for that 1 month from the previous owners that said we did not apply anything in that month. And so for me, it had never been farmland. So it was fairly easy to take those steps. But if it has been conventional ag land, you have to show that chain of the day it went out and 3 years to the day, or you can't get it certified. That's a pretty strict point that they like to keep. He talked about the application and fees, then they review, and then they issue the certificate. I think it was a total process of a few months my first time, and it's just a renewal process after that, where you get re-inspected. Every 5 years you have to do a organic systems plan, and I'll talk about that here in a second. That 3-year transition period